In this video, I wanted to see if I could beat a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokémon Violet using only Eeveelutions. That's right, I'm jumping back into Paldea to see if my 8 Eeveelutions have what it takes to get me through Pokémon Violet. This is not going to be easy though, because under my hardcore Nuzlocke rule set, if a Pokémon faints, it's considered dead and must be released. I'll also be limiting my encounters to only 8 different Eevee for each Eeveelution available in Pokémon Violet. This means once I lose an Eeveelution, it's gone for good. The rest of the rules are on screen now and in the description. Can these adorable little fluff balls carry me through this challenge? Let's jump in and find out. So first things first, we've got to get ourselves an Eevee so we can begin our adventure. However, actually getting an Eevee is easier said than done, because first I have to play through the ridiculously long intro to this game. Once we're through that hour-long intro though, I'm eventually set 3 into the world, and that means it's Eevee time. One sandwich later, and I'm finally able to catch the starter for this run, Aang the Eevee. Through the power of genetic engineering, I'm able to give Eevee a new look. It's time to play what is possibly the worst minigame I've ever seen in a AAA game before it's time for our first gym battle of the run, where we face down Katie and her bug types. Now, Katie isn't a huge threat, but I still don't like the chances of this 3v1, so I decide to even the odds slightly before jumping in. Because this is a really well-made game, made by a professional company, there's actually nothing stopping me from walking halfway across the map to the 5th gym and grabbing some leftovers. I also teach Aang Protect, and I'm hoping this will keep my fuzzball healthy enough to see us through this fight. So let's jump right in. Katie starts with Nimble, who threatens with double kick, but thanks to baby doll eyes, I'm able to lower the stupid cricket's attack. Combined with leftovers and protect, this should keep me healthy enough to win, as long as I don't get crit. Okay then. That's going to make this battle a lot more awkward. That crit means by the time Aang is finally able to take down the stupid bug, he's a lot lower on HP than I was hoping. Aang being the best boy, he's still able to take down the tarantula despite being low on HP, but unfortunately after taking so much damage against Katie's first 2 bugs, Aang can't stand up to Teddiursa and goes down. Well, there goes attempt 1. Underestimated Katie a bit there. You know what the worst part about starting again is though? I have to play through this stupid intro again. Let's take it from the top, I guess. Battle Nomura, go through a catching tutorial, feed a space dog a sandwich, battle Arvin, battle Nomura again, meet Penny, get enrolled in school, meet Arvin again, wish Nomura would go away, get introduced to a totally alive professor, graduate from school, and finally recatch Aang. Jesus Christ, we're finally back where we were. At the risk of having to play through that intro again, which I think would finish me off, this time I opt to evolve Aang before battling Katie. Might seem cheap, but there's nothing really stopping me from walking north until eventually I find a Firestone, and that means Aang has become the ultra fluffy Flareon. With Aang's newfound power boost, our rematch against Katie is a complete cakewalk, even if I do get crit again. This is going to be one of those runs, isn't it? At least now we've won our first gym battle of the run and have a shiny new gym badge under our belt. With Katie defeated though, I do have a new problem. Our next opponent is the rock crab Cloth, and obviously Aang's new fire typing isn't going to be much of the benefit here. That means I think it's time for our second evolution, so heading north again, I'm able to grab a water stone, which means I can evolve our newly caught Eevee into Soccer, the powerful Vaporeon. Hey, at least with the new Pokemon leaks, there should be less creepy Vaporeon jokes around. If you know, you know. Anyway, Soccer being the best pink boy, he's easily able to make quick work of the giant crab that sounds like a cow. Seriously, why does Cloth sound so much like a cow? Let's just move on from the crab cow. It's time for our second gym battle of the run, this time against the grass gym leader, Grassis. Just got to get through another gym minigame. This one looks like it's straight out of the Stephen King novel. At least it doesn't take very long, meaning it's time to take down Grassis. So first up is Petalil, while I start with Aang. 2 quick embers are enough for our first easy KO. Second is Smolith, who puts up even less of the fight and goes down to a couple more embers. This has been going well so far, but next is Sudowoodo, who thanks to Rock Throw is a pretty big threat to Aang. Luckily though, I came prepared and I taught Aang Will-O-Wisp with the TM I was able to pick up not too far away. Sudowoodo is still pretty tanky though, so I don't want to mess around around with this tree. Thankfully, Will-O-Wisp immediately connects, neutering the tree's damage. I then decide to play even safer by switching into Soccer and getting off a couple of baby doll eyes to lower the Sudowoodo's attack even further. Might have been risking a crit by doing that, but it all worked out because now Aang can come back in and spam embers for the victory. Pretty straightforward second gym battle. Carrying on then, up next we've got another Titan fight, this time against an oversized bird. I could get a Jolteon here to make this fight completely free, but I decide Aang and Soccer have got this. Sure, I won't regret that. I start by burning the giant bird because Pluck still does a huge amount. My two Eeveelutions are still able to take down the first stage of this fight, but annoyingly I completely forget there's no heal going into the second stage of this fight. Arven's here to save the day though, and by hiding behind Protect, I'm able to survive just long enough to watch the bird fall. Okay, that was a little bit too close, really should have gotten Jolteon there just to make things go a little bit smoother. Better late than never though. Oh wait, that's not a Jolteon. Huh, well I'm sure there's a Sylveon fan out there somewhere that's happy with this. Also, I'll even admit, Sylveon has a really cool shiny. If you're wondering why I've added Suki the Sylveon to the team, it's because up next we've got our first Team Starbase to take down, which means I'm facing off against Giacomo and his dark types. I've got perfect counters for this fight though, as Aang is able to make quick work of the pawn yard, and for the Starmobile, I'm able to lower its attack with baby doll eyes before spamming disarming voices with Suki for the win. That was a pretty easy Starmobile battle, but they're only going to get more difficult going forward. To wish me luck for those future battles, remember to leave a like on the video if you're enjoying and subscribe for more content in the future. I've also got channel memberships available if you want to go out of your way to support the channel and what I do. Okay, enough shameless self-plugging, let's carry on with the video. Up next, I've got another gym battle to get on with, and this one is actually a pretty easy fight if you've got the right Pokemon. See, Iono's first three Pokemon aren't really a problem, and her ace, Miss Magius, only has electric and ghost type attacking moves. This means if you've got a normal type and a ground type, this ace is pretty free as you can switch between them and Miss Magius can't even touch you. You'll notice my problem then, yeah, I'm going to have to face Miss Magius head on, which I won't lie is slightly terrifying. I do have a plan however, so after beating up my rival again, sorry Nomura, you're not at the point of being remotely difficult, it's time for our third gym battle. So Iona starts with Wattrel and I start with Vaporeon. Soccer does have to take a single spark, but two water guns take down the bird. Second is Bellybot, who's going to be a bit more of a challenge. I immediately switch into Aang on a spark that is at least mitigated by leftovers. After protecting for a turn, Aang lands a Will-O-Wisp, which should hopefully stop the stupid Throg doing any real damage. Two digs are then enough for another KO. Third is Luxio, who lands a spark and then paralyzes before Aang can get off the dig. What's worse is that thanks to Intimidate, my fluffy boy then fails to one-shot. I should probably now switch out, but sometimes just saying it and taking the risky play is more entertaining, so I go through another dig and it actually connects through the paralysis, taking down the lion. All that leaves then is the ace, and again this thing is super scary. I can't hit for super effective damage, and it's likely to raise its special attack with charge beams. Because of this, I decide my best bet is Suki, who has light screen. Of course this is still a risky play because of Confuse Ray, but I really don't have the options to be playing around that. Thankfully, Suki is able to set up a light screen through the confusion, and then I switch into Soccer to shake off the status condition. Okay, let's never switch back into Soccer, Jesus. There's no way I get crit twice though, right? See, even I'm not that unlucky. There's no point risking Soccer anymore though, because now that he's confused, I can get Suki in without immediately being confused again. Okay, light screen wore off, just time to set it up again. This is going to get annoying, isn't it? Despite being constantly confused and doing low damage, Suki is eventually able to take down the Miss Magius with disarming voices. It just takes way too long. God, status spamming is so obnoxious. At the very least, Iona is down and we've won our third gym battle of the run. Well, that was a very long and drawn out fight. Thankfully, the next portion of this game though is a complete cakewalk. Soccer and Aang are able to completely walk all over our next Team Star fight, even if I do forget to teach Soccer Rain Dance. Oh well, clearly didn't need it. Carrying on with our easy streak, we've got another Titan fight to do. While Orthworm does look kind of funny, he's just a big old wormy boy, look at that face. Soccer is able to spam water moves until I pick up another whim. Rest in peace, you long worm. With that out the way, it's time for another gym battle. First off, of course, that means we've got to get through another gym puzzle. Can't wait to see what exciting mini game Game Freak has cooked up for me this time. It's a water gym, so maybe some sort of fishing mini game, or maybe you could have to dive underwater to find treasure. So many things you could do here, and I have to return the gym leader's wallet. That's it. Jesus Christ, this game couldn't come up with a cool idea if somebody paid Game Freak over $100 million. At least it's quick, I suppose. I do also decide I'm going to grab one more encounter before challenging Kothu, a spiky little Jolteon I name Azula. Now, unsurprisingly, Azula has no chill, and thanks to a magnet, she's able to quickly dispatch all of Kothu's Pokemon. Fuck you, Kothu, and fuck your eyebrows. We're on a roll with this run at the moment, and after grabbing another Eeveelution, this time an Espeon I name Momo, I'm confident nothing is going to slow me down. With that ominous bit of foreshadowing, let's jump into our next team star boss, this time against Atticus. Now this fight isn't very straightforward, because Atticus's poison types do have some counters to stop me just spamming psychic attacks and sweeping this entire battle. Because of this, I decide to start with Soccer, and Soccer is nearly able to take down the Stunk Tank without being poisoned, but annoyingly, just before I'm able to get the KO, Soccer gets hit with a Toxic. Soccer being on a timer isn't great, but at least the tank is down. Next for Atticus is Muck, so I switch into Momo. Momo takes more from a Sludge Wave than I would have liked, before firing back a crit Psybeam for the one-shot. Don't think I needed a crit there, but not gonna complain. Third for Atticus is Retheroom, that can hit most of my team for super effective damage, which is worrying. I'm hoping Ang with Dig can handle this stupid little engine though, so I switch in on an Assurance. Ang does take a massive amount from a Bulldoze before landing a 4 times effective Dig for another KO. Right, taking some serious damage already, but just gotta handle the stupid truck. I decide to immediately send in Azula, hoping to get off some damage with some strong electric attacks. Jesus Christ, that was a bit too close to the comfort. New plan, send in Suki, set up a Reflect, don't die. Perfect. Now I just have to hope with a Reflect up, Momo can squeeze out a win. Okay, poison's bad, but Psybeam is doing a lot. Just have to hold out for 2 more turns here. Ah, so close. Rest in peace, Momo. Your sacrifice has hopefully given us the win, as now Jolteon can come in and... Wait, I got outsped? Well, that's shocking considering I gave Jolteon max speed EVs. Ah, negative speed nature and a speed IV of 6. What's worse is now Reflect is gone, so gonna need Soccer to come in clutch here, or I might be looking at a wipe. Oh my god, I just got so lucky. My team is battered and broken, but somehow we've made it through. That was humbling, if nothing else. I've now got 3 empty spots on my team, and only 3 more Eeveelutions I can collect, so it makes sense to grab my remaining encounters. Funnily enough, while I'm running around looking through an Ice Stone through a Glaceon, I accidentally run into a Glaceon anyway. Ha, talk about luck. I can then go buy a Leaf Stone, and that means we can welcome Toph, Katara, and Zuko to my party. With my party filled out, it's time to test my new team, so let's go see if we can take down everybody's favourite depressed office worker, Larry. So Larry starts with his Koala, while I start off with Ang. Ang is immediately hit by a Yawn, but that's okay because Thiafang should do a decent, oh okay then, good start. I'd rather Ang didn't fall asleep here, so I switch into Soccer, which annoyingly doesn't work as well as I was hoping because I get hit by another Yawn. Not sure why this stupid Koala went for 2 Yawns in a row there, but there's no way it goes to 3, right? I hate this stupid thing. Well, there's clearly no point trying to play around the sleep, so I go straight for the attack. Of course, when I don't switch, the Koala stops going for Yawn and lands a stupidly hard Slam. I call bullshit that, but at least Thiafang does a good amount. With Slam doing so much though, I can't leave Ang in anymore, so I switch back into Soccer and get crit. This is just getting silly. Soccer is finally able to take down the world's most annoying Pokemon with 2 more Water Pulses, but in the process falls asleep. Right, 1 Pokemon down, and 2 of my Pokemon have been really hurt and put to sleep. Not the best start. Second is Dunsparce, so I switch into Toph. Toph still takes a lot from a Hyper Drill, but then my Grass type is able to set up a Leech Seed. Leech Seed combined with Charm and Synthesis means the Dunsparce is pretty handily neutered, while Toph is able to stay healthy, and eventually I am able to get another much smoother KO. All that leads to Larry is his ace Staraptor. Now without Jolteon, this large bird is kind of scary, but thankfully I have Zuko, who is a pretty good counter. Zuko is able to come in, and thanks to his ridiculous bulk, tank hit after hit while getting off the charms. Once the Staraptor is at -6 attack, Katara is safe to come in and slowly wear down down the stupid bird with icy winds. Nice. While it is stupid that the most difficult part of that fight was dealing with Larry's koala, a deathless win is a deathless win. 5 badges down, 3 more to get. First up then is Rhyme. Rhyme challenges you to the only double battle in this game, and to make things more complicated, random stat boosts are handed out throughout this battle. I've never actually checked what the rules are for getting these stat boosts, and I'm not about to check now. Fingers crossed this goes well then. Rhyme starts with Mimikyu and Bayonet, while I start with Zuko and Katara, by being double crit by both Bayonet and Mimikyu. Well, you two, game. Thankfully, even the double crit doesn't do a huge amount to Katara, and then a Dark Pulse does good damage into the Bayonet, before an Icy Wind very nearly finishes off the Ghost and also breaks the Mimikyu's disguise. For some reason, despite not getting any KOs, I still get an attack boost at the end of this turn. I really should look up how this works. Oh well, not going to complain about that boost. I'm pretty sure both attacks are going to try and hit Katara again, so I switch into Suki. This works pretty well, as this causes Sucker Punch to fail, and then a Snarl finishes off the Bayonet. Mimikyu only lands a Slash into Suki, which crits again. Okay, this is getting silly, 3 crits in a row. Up next is Houndstone, and I get another attack boost. This game is basically trying to give me the win at this point. I'm happy to try and oblige, so I spend a turn doing decent damage to Houndstone without scoring a KO, while taking a Play Rough from the Tombstone Dog. Rhyme then gets her own stat boost, but instead of attack, it's accuracy. Okay then, not gonna complain, because after taking a Play Rough and a Slash, I'm able to take down the Houndstone and leave Mimikyu really low. Rhyme then sends out her ace, Toxtricity, but the game gave my Pokemon a speed boost, meaning it's a simple case of doubling up into the ace for another easy KO. Amusingly, I don't think I've ever seen Toxtricity survive long enough to actually attack. All that leaves is a very low health Mimikyu, who goes down to one last hit. Easy 6th gym badge. Those stat boosts make that fight really 3. For our next gym fight against Tulip though, I'm not going to get off so easy. I'm not sure how useful Zuko is going to be here, because Tulip's Pokemon all have Fairy type moves, but I'm sure everything will be fine. So I start with Zuko and Tulip starts with Thratherig. The Giraffe really can't do much to hurt Zuko, so despite being crit again, this proves to be a pretty easy fight that I can win with Dark Pulses. Second is Gardevoir, so I should switch here. I decide it's worth staying in and taking a few attacks though, so I can get off some Snarls and lower the stupid Gardevoir's special attack. This kind of works, but I do miss the second Snarl. Not the end of the world though, because now I can send in Aang, who resists the Fairy type attacks. Thanks to the special attack drops, Psychic doesn't do too much damage, and Aang is easily able to take down the Psychic type with 2 fire attacks. Third is Espira, so I switch back into Zuko. The Ostrich is another of Tulip's Pokemon that can't really touch Zuko, so I'm safe to heal to full with the Moonlight, and then get off 2 Dark Pulses for another KO. All that leaves is Tulip's Ace, and I really should switch out here. Instead, I decide to stay in and get off as many Snarls as I dare to lower this thing's special attack. It'll be fine as long as I don't get crit. See? I'm not about to get unlucky every time, am I? With the Ace neutered, Aang is able to come back in and take a couple of Psychics before sending the weird Flower Fairy on fire. Got lucky there by not getting crit when it mattered, but still a pretty straightforward fight. One more gym to go. Before we can get to that though, we've got our last gym minigame to get through, and this one, shockingly, is almost fun. It's still not fun, but it's almost there, so points to trying, Game Freak. Let's get on with our last gym battle then, as this time we've got to take down Grusha and her ice types. First up is Frostmoth, who being a snowy moth, can't really stand up to our fire attacks, so we're able to pick up an easy first KO. Second is Beartic, who does threaten with Aqua Jet and Earthquake. Because of this, I switch into Zuko, and get crit for the millionth time this run. Jesus Christ, can I get through one battle without being crit? At least Zuko is still tanky enough to eat the hit. I am then able to get off an Assurance, but it's doing so little damage, I decide I need a new plan. So after healing Zuko up with the Moonlight, I send in Katara to lower the bear's attack with Charms. Katara is still able to stay healthy thanks to Leftovers, and once the bear is at -6 attack, I switch back into Aang. Obviously I am risking a crit here, but despite a miss, my luck holds up. Third for Grusha is her Titan, who threatens Aang with super effective moves again. The same plan works again though, as I can lower the Titan's attack with Charms before KOing with Muddy Waters. One more Pokemon to go then, Grusha's Ace Altaria. Stat lowering moves have been working brilliantly so far, so why change what ain't broke? This does take longer than spamming Charms, because Snarl only lowers the Dragon's special attack by 1 stage instead of 2, and I do have to deal with confusion, but eventually I'm able to bring the stupid Dragon's special attack low enough to where I'm safe to send out Suki, who finishes the dragon off with a crit Draining Kiss. That took a while, but thanks to Charm and Snarl, That fight was pretty easy. With that, we've won all 8 gym badges. We're well on our way to the Pokemon League at this point, but first I've got 2 more Team Star bosses to deal with. Let's go beat up some children. So first up on our child beating journey is Ortega, who starts with Azumarill while I start with Toth. Toth has now learnt Leaf Blade, so one grass type attack is enough for an easy KO. Second is Wigglytuff, who survives the one more turn than Azumarill, but still goes down to Leaf Blades. Third is the Cake Dog Dash Bun, who is tanky enough to be a problem for Toth. You should know what my solution is to basically every problem in this run though, charm spam. So I send in Katara and bring the pup down to -6 attack, and then get off 2 3s dries for another knockout. Ortega is already down to just his Starmobile, so same plan as always then, spam charm to neuter the stupid truck. Game, stop critting me. I suppose this is the one flaw in my current strategy. I just got very lucky that Soccer survived, but at least the truck is now at -6 attack. Unfortunately though, Aang is doing so little damage and being constantly confused, this quickly becomes a bit of a nightmare. As long as I don't get crit— oh come on game, you've really got to stop at this point. Somehow though, despite being crit so much, Aang still survives, meaning I can send out Toth, who does finish the Starmobile off with a couple of Leaf Blades. Right, that just leaves one more Team Star boss to take down. Only problem is that my team really isn't set up to deal with fighting types, like at all. Combine that with the fact that this Starmobile can increase its attack with shift gear, and I could be in a lot of trouble. Let's hope luck's on my side then, as Eerie starts with Toxicroak and I start with Soccer. Thanks to a charm, Soccer is able to take down the Toad with a few muddy waters, but he does take a lot of damage in the process. Second is the monkey that I don't even want to try to pronounce, so I switch into Toth. I was expecting a Seed Bomb here, but instead the monkey goes for a close combat that hits really hard. Thankfully I can heal a lot of the damage back with Synthesis. Okay, just f*** off at this point. I clearly need a crit counter. At least the monkey's defenses have been lowered, so I can switch into Suki, take 2 hard close combats, and then one shot with a Moonblast. Third is another monkey, this time Annihilate, who does outspeed and land another powerful close combat before Suki is able to land another Moonblast for a 3rd KO. Fourth is Lucario, who is taken down by Aang after taking 2 Aura Spheres. With that, all that's left is the truck, and I did manage to take down most of Erie's Pokemon rather fast, but I still took some really hard hits in the process. So much so that I'm now in a really awkward position, as my only undamaged Pokemon are both weak to fighting. I'm going to have to hope Katara can survive long enough to spam charms then, no other choice. Thankfully this works decently well, because as I start spamming charms, instead of attacking, the truck starts going to shift gears. Eventually, after taking a decent amount of damage, the truck is at -6 attack, so I switch into Toth, hoping to heal with the Synthesis. Annoyingly, I do get paralyzed, but that's fine, because the Starmobile is only doing 10 damage, and I have 11 HP. As long as this heal gets through. Unfortunately, the truck just rolled a high damage number. Well, I kind of was expecting that, to be honest. But good news is it gave me a 3 switch into Suki, which means a couple of Moonblasts should be enough for the win. Well, that's just rude. I suppose I had to get crit when it mattered eventually. Rest in peace, Suki. This is starting to look really bad. My counters for this thing are down, and I'm kind of running out of options. I decide maybe Aang can get off some damage, but after taking a few high horsepowers, he's only able to land 1 Fire Fang as the second misses. Right, all comes down to Soccer. Hopefully he can do slightly more, so my pink boy is sent in, and Muddy Water at least is doing okay damage. Soccer is still brought really low though, so now all comes down to Zuko. Can Zuko survive long enough to finish off the Starmobile? Well, I finally get lucky as the Starmobile focuses on raising its attack back up instead of attacking, which allows my Umbreon to slowly take down the truck with weak Dark Pulses. I'm actually shocked we made it through that fight, but somehow my Pokemon managed to pull through. Well, now I've got a much bigger challenge to face though, the Elite Four. With only 4 brave Eeveelutions left, I'm not sure if we have what it takes to pull off a win. We're going to give it our all anyway though. Remember to leave a like for our fallen friends, and to wish me luck. Let's go in this. Unfortunately, before they even let me through the doors to this Pokemon League, they hit me with my one weakness, proving that I've been paying the slightest bit of attention to the story. I failed this test twice. Like, how am I meant to remember what stupid school I'm a part of? Waste of time. Anyway, with that bullshit test out the way, it's time to face our first battle of this Elite Four, Rika, the ground type specialist. Thankfully, even with my limited Pokemon, this fight shouldn't be too difficult to deal with. I can neuter the Wish Cache with Snarls, and then finish it off with Dark Pulses. Camerupt is slightly more tricky because of Yawn, but I can easily play around this by just spamming Snarl until Zuko is hit by a Yawn, and then I'm safe to switch into Soccer before KOing with the single Surf. From there, I'm able to pick up 2 more easy KOs on both Donphan and Dugtrio, and that just leaves Clodsire. Clodsire is also pretty easy to deal with thanks to Katara. Pretty straightforward battle, let's hope they're all that simple. Second for this Elite Four is another small child, and I do love beating up small children. Wait, what? So Poppy starts with her lunchbox elephant, and I start with Aang. Aang is actually pretty perfect here, as he's able to sweep the first 3 of Poppy's Pokemon. Fourth for Poppy though is Magnezone. My Flareon has been damaged enough to where I can't stay in here. I've got old reliable though, stat lowering moves, so I send in Zuko and start going for Snarls. Eventually the magnet is crippled, so I can spam Dark Pulses for the KO. All that leaves the Poppy is her ace Tinkaton, and now I'm going to say something controversial. This steel type is kind of arse. Like, it's got a 240 base power move and really good typing, but its stats are just kind of I'm not going to complain though, because Tinkatonk's low stats mean I can send in Soccer, spam Charms, and then safely KO with Surfs. Another easy fight, 2 down, 2 to go. Up next then is our rematch with Larry, and thanks to Katara, the first 3 of Larry's Pokemon fall to a single Ice Beam each. Then Oricorio comes out, and annoyingly, Glaceon has taken too much damage to be left in here, so I switch into Aang. Aang is able to handle the Electric Bird fairly easily with a few flamethrowers after taking a single attack. All that leaves then is Larry's Flamingo, so this is looking like another 3 fight. What the f***? I did not know the Flamingo would hit that hard. Well, rest in peace, Aang. You were with us from the start, and to see you go out like this kind of sucks. Thankfully, Soccer is able to get off the charm, and then Zuko is able to take down the bird for the win, but this feels like a Pyrrhic victory. We're down to our last 3 Eeveelutions then, and this is really bad timing because I now have to battle the only difficult member of this Elite Four. Let's hope we can push through. Hazel starts with Noivern, and I start with Katara. I'd really rather not lose half my health to a Super Thang here, but unfortunately I can't really play around that unless I get lucky. Makes a change? Well, gonna need that luck if I want to get through this. Up next is Haxorus, and I'm threatened by Iron Head here, so I switch into Soccer. Soccer does take a lot of damage from Dragon Claws, but I'm able to 1v1 the dragon with Aura Beams. Third for Hazel is his Poison Dragon, who is completely walled by Zuko, meaning I can pick up another easy KO. Up next is Flapple, so I switch back into Katara and get seeded. That's annoying, but not the end of the world, because a single Ice Beam should... Okay, that's rude. As I was saying, a single... You've got to be kidding me. Well, that bit of bad luck, unfortunately, has doomed this run. While Zuko can come in and take down the Flapple, Hazel's ace is just too much for my remaining Pokemon to handle. To add insult to injury, this run ends how it started, with a crit. Well, that was a fun run nonetheless, and I enjoyed using my Eeveelutions. Let me know what your favorite Eeveelution is down in the comments. I'll be interested to see what you guys have to say. With that, the video is over, so thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.